I believe that I am in a somewhat unique position to speak on this. Not only have I been working with the proponents of the bill for the past, 6 to 8 months, very proudly, having these long, deep, thoughtful conversations. I also serve on both of the committees of education and the Children's Committee. Separate committees, separate agencies, but many times a lot of their concerns overlap. And these two committees have created two policies that are intended to work together with the ultimate goal of kids being educated and kids being safe. I think that is something that we can all agree upon. And in putting together this legislation, we were very, very aware of trying to ensure that homeschool families are able to continue educating their children as they see fit. And there is nothing in this legislation that dictates the curriculum. You can have a curriculum that is faith-based. You can have a curriculum that is based on outdoor activities. You can have whatever kind of curriculum works for your families and creates a supportive educational experience for your families. Because we know that the reason why many families homeschool is varied. That's why you did it. So you could create a unique experience for yourself and your children and meet them where their needs are. So I think that allowing you to continue to do that is really important, and that's what this legislation does. It also offers a framework for support. So I was an English major. Math is not my thing. When my kids come home and they have homework that I don't fully understand, my husband is the math guy. I say, you're gonna have to wait until your dad gets home. It's not my jam, we'll say, to date myself. This also allows that if you are homeschooling your children, that you can go to SDE and say, do you have other resources for curriculum? Because I'm not great at math, or the program that I purchased doesn't work the way I thought it would. What do you have as additional supports? That is something that they can also offer during the review process. If someone is looking at a portfolio or at a standardized test and say, we've noticed that maybe you're not at this level that you were hoping to be, would you like additional resources? Not a forced, it's not making any demands or requirements. Especially, I think, because some families are potted and some are not. And so they may not have that community basis there. So we're trying to, again, think about how we can offer supports on the broadest sense, but still allowing the most amount of freedom. What this also does is create accountability for the parents or guardians who are not doing the right thing. Because the truth of the matter is, and I'm saying this to all the families here who are listening, is that most families, the overwhelming majority of families who are choosing homeschooling, are 100% doing the right thing for your children now and for their futures. But it is also true that there are some adults who are purposefully using the lack of regulations to hide abuse, neglect, and are not educating their children. Both things can be and are true at the same time. And I know there's been concern about this policy moving too quickly. This is a conversation that has been happening in this building for 20 years. 20 years. And it is our job as legislators to address where there are problems within our systems and create legislation to try and minimize them. No policy is perfect. We will never, ever be able, no matter what laws, whether it's the police or the laws that we create here, we will never be able to prevent bad things from happening sometimes. That's just, and I hate it. I hate the idea that no matter what we do, we're going to have kids that are hurt. But we have seen the results of doing nothing. After 20 years, what we have families that are doing it right. And they have now adult children who are healthy and educated and successful. That is awesome. That is the goal that we all want as parents. But the families that aren't doing the right thing or didn't do the right thing over the last 20 years have children that have suffered years of neglect, both educational and otherwise, years of abuse, and sometimes death. I challenge the people who think that nothing would change in the outcome of some of the cases that we've seen over the last 20 years by this policy. Because if there had been something in place to make sure that someone wasn't on the registry, didn't have an abuse record, a history of hurting their children, if we had a policy in place that made someone think, you know what, I'm gonna actually teach my kids. I know it's hard. I did it during COVID, it was awful. I have much respect for everyone who's doing this. I believe in my heart of hearts that maybe some of the abuse would have been prevented. Maybe some of these kids over the last 20 years that don't have the names that we all recognize right now would still be with us. And I do not think that we have the ability or the option to wait any longer. We have too many kids that are in the shadows, not being accounted for. And we need to have this piece in education to work alongside the pieces in the Children's Committee to address the issues with DCF. They have to work together. We have to create a system where if you're not doing the right thing by your kid, and no matter what, that we are creating more follow-up. That is our responsibility. And I am thankful for all of the conversations that have happened over the hours and hours and months that have happened. We will never all agree on one thing, but I think that we can do the right thing today and move this forward. Thank you, Madam Chair.